Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Gopinath, Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtatarashata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtatarashata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। जय श्री Goodnath. This morning we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 4, Further Inquiries by Vidura, text number 4. Asrakshit Bhagavan Vishvam. Asrakshit Bhagavan Vishvam. Gunamayatma Mayaya. Gunamayatma Mayaya. Taya samstapayatyetat. Taya samstapayatyetat. Bhuyah pratyapidyasyati. Bhuyah pratyapidyasyati. Asrakshit Bhagavan Vishvam. Gunamayatma Mayaya. Taya samstapayatyetat. Bhuya pratyapidhasyati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. By His self-sheltered potency of the three modes of material nature, the Lord has caused the creation of this universe. By her, He maintains the creation and conversely dissolves it again and again. Purport. This cosmic universe is created by the Lord for those living entities who are carried away by the illusory thought of becoming one with Him by imitation. The three modes of material nature are for the further bewilderment of the conditioned souls. The conditioned living entity, bewildered by the illusory energy, considers himself a part of the material creation due to forgetfulness of his spiritual identity, and thus he becomes entangled in material activities life after life. This material world is not for the purpose of the Lord Himself, but is for the conditioned souls who wanted to be controllers due to misuse of their God-gifted minute independence. Thus the conditioned souls are subjected to repeated birth and death. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyam. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So after Maitreya Muni and Vidura discussing in the previous chapter about the creation, it appears that Vidura is a little bit perplexed or a little bit confused, because he understands that the spiritual world existed prior to the creation of the material world, and since the absolute personality of Godhead who created this material world, he existed prior to the creation of the material world, and therefore he is known as Para, or transcendental. So how is it that this personality of Godhead entered within his creation if he's transcendental, if he's aloof from it? So if you look at text 2 of this chapter, it says, yes, text 2. Sri Vidura said, "O great Brahmana, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the complete spiritual whole and is unchangeable, how is He connected with the material modes of nature and their activities? Is this His pastime? If this is His pastime, how do the activities of the unchangeable take place and exhibit qualities without the modes of material nature?" So he's saying that everyone that comes in contact with this material world, they get influenced by the modes of material nature. Right? Like Srila Prabhupada is saying that when the conditioned soul means the pure soul who is in touch with the modes of material nature. Therefore, the soul is conditioned. So how is it that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, why is it that the Super Soul, when the Super Soul comes into the material world, the Super Soul is not affected by the three modes of material nature? We can understand this in two ways. One is the example that I think Kamsari Senapur was giving about the king who enters the prison. So the king enters the prison because he's created the rules governing the prison. He's aloof from the rules himself. So he enters, and Prabhu is saying that the the king can even free the prisoners and liberate the prisoners from inside. And that's exactly what Krishna does. Through his pastimes, he creates very attractive samskaras and vasanas in the minds, in the chitta of the conditioned souls, by which, thinking of that pastimes, the beautiful form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his qualities, his names, they can be liberated from this prison of the mature world. So he comes within this mature world, but is not affected by it. The other way that the Supreme Personality of Godhead enters this mature world is by his energies. And we learnt last chapter, and we're learning this chapter as well. Such energies include the Mahat Tattva itself, the three modes of material nature. It includes the time factor, it includes the ahankar. So all these are different energies within the material creation, Maya. And Krishna enters the material world through the agency of his mind. But Srila Prabhupada is making the point, and Srimad Bhagavatam also makes the point, that it is not for the Lord's purpose, it is not for Krishna's purpose that this mature world is created. It is for the purpose of the conditioned souls who want to enjoy separately from us. Now, I was reading something interesting in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. It's talking about Lord Brahma and about how any material position in this universe is ultimately more or less useless or worthless. Right? We already learned from Bhagavad Gita that from the highest planetary system, Satyalok, down to the lowest, all are places of suffering and misery. Krishna said that in the Bhagavad Gita. So in this particular purport of the Bhagavatam, it's explained that Brahma can also be affected by different material modes of nature, because this purport here, in this verse, is focused on the three modes of material nature. So the Brahma who is influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance, and as a result, such a Brahma, such a universal Karata, universal creator, is a karmi. So Brahma who is a sense gratifier. Such a Brahma, after he passes away, has to again take birth within the mature world. That's the first category. A Brahma who is a jnani, and therefore he's affected by the mode of goodness, such a Brahma has to go to the Brahma Jyoti. So even though he's Brahma, the supreme jiva within this universe, he has no different destination as compared to any ordinary human being who's also practicing Jnana Yoga as well. So Brahma also has to go to the Brahma Jyoti and then again descend down to this material world. A Brahma who is a devotee, a pure devotee of Krishna, such a Brahma goes back to the spiritual world. A Brahma who is a devotee but maintains his independence. What do we mean by that? It means that we may be a devotee but may be something like a demigod. Right? We see that the demigods, they still retain their independence. They come and they assist Krishna when he comes in his avatars, in his lila. They come, they take births as human beings, as his associates when he comes down, and they pray to him every time they're in danger. So they're devotees, but at the same time, they're not pure devotees. They have their minute independence. So such a Brahma, after he dies, after he leaves his body, material body, he takes birth in the abode of Mahavishnu. He takes birth in the abode of Mahavishnu in the causal ocean, and after spending sufficient amount of time there, when Mahavishnu breathes out again such a Brahma has to come back to the mature world and continue his devotional service until it's perfected. So these are the four categories of Brahma which are mentioned, influenced by Some of them are influenced by the modes, like the Jnani and the Karmi, and the other two are devotees, but they're not yet pure devotees. And just because we are devotees, it doesn't mean we're not affected by the modes of mature nature. Just like Arjuna, he's a pure devotee of Krishna. In this case, in the Bhagavad Gita, when it was spoken, he was acting as if he was not pure. Actually, he's pure, and Arjuna is above the three modes of mature nature. But in that particular context, he was acting as if he was a conditioned soul. That's why Krishna told him, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal primarily with topics concerning the three modes of mature nature. Become free from this, Arjuna, and become free from the idea of gain, safety, and protection of your material body and the material bodies and properties of your relatives. So rise beyond the three modes of mature nature. Bhagavad Gita, the 14th chapter, gives us more understanding about these three modes of mature nature. In fact, the chapter 14 is actually called the three modes of mature nature. Krishna is telling him